Hello, friends. It's me, your big brave boy, Kyle Romero again, coming to you solo from a secure location deep within the Earth's core. I don't know what that is about. Anyway, what you're about to hear after you make it through this extremely tedious intro is going to be an interview that I did with a very nice man by the name of Demian Rugna. He's the writer, director of the new film Terrified, which is coming to Shudder on October 11th. It is a wild movie. It has got some of the craziest shit I have ever seen in it, including one of the most terrifying images I've ever seen in a film. Watch the movie and then we can talk about it. But I think we had a really good chat. He was a really nice guy. It was such a pleasure. So that is going to start right now. Okay, so I am here back at Fantastic Fest with another filmmaker. Today we're talking with the writer, director of the new film Terrified, Mr. Demian Rugna. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you for the interview.
Yeah, of course. Happy to take some time to talk to you. So I guess to start out with, how's your Fantastic Fest been? Have you been enjoying your time here? Or?
Yeah, it's amazing. My first time, not only in Austin, it's my first time in USA.
Oh.
It's great because I meet a lot of people. I never met American people.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it's a good impression because they are really cool people.
Nice, yeah. Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that everybody's been so cool and welcoming.
Less in Austin.
In Austin,
right?
Yeah. Austin is one of the cooler and more welcoming places. So I'm glad that our illustrious city was your first intro to the United States. How's the food been? Have you been getting barbecue or anything?
No barbecue not yet, but all the food is a lot bigger.
Yeah,
I need to get fat when I come back to my home.
Yeah, larger portions for sure. Okay, so I know last night, as of this recording, you guys had is it the United States premiere of Terrified, or has it already premiered?
No, it's United States premiere.
United States premiere. Yeah. Okay, so that was last night at 11 something, close to midnight, basically.
Midnight, yeah.
How'd it go?
Very well.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was very well. We're funny because the movie works when the movie needs to get a law.
Mm-hmm.
The people really accept these scenes, and after that, when the people need to scary, the people scary,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of question after the movie in the Q&A. A lot of, I think 10 question or 11, 12, I don't know, but it was good.
Good, nice.
Yeah.
This is obviously the friendliest crowd as far as horror stuff. You're going to get a lot of people that are way into it, and I don't know. I feel like everybody's just very enthusiastic and very happy to see new things. And your movie definitely is, I think, something new. I watched it a little earlier. They sent me a streaming link. I wasn't able to make it to the premiere last night, but I have seen it. And it's great. I love it.
Thank you.
And it is very, I would say, unique. It's got a very specific structure and tone to it that I can't quite place from another film, and I love that about it because horror is just a genre that is so full of a lot of the retreads of the same kind of tropes and ideas, and this movie definitely does not do that.
Thank you.
So it's very refreshing. So before we get too much into talking about the film, I would just like to know about your background. Where did you start in film? How did you start down this path?
Well, I think I started making movie when I was a child, playing with my GI Show and Playmobil's toys. I built my own blood mixing temperas with red color for painting.
Oh, cool.
With water. And when I play with my toys when I was a child, I said, "This you will gonna be Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you will be Sylvester Stallone, and I'm the director." And
you were casting them even from a young age.
Yeah. After that, I was child drawing comics all my life. When I grew up, I think I was 20 years and studied for the cinema and built my own short movie.
Okay.
When I was 25 years old, some kind of crazy gave me $50,000 for make my first movie. Was called The Last Gateway.
Okay.
It's a movie. It's in my website demianrugna.com.ar.
Yeah.
It was strange because that movie called about a guy who opened in his own stomach the gate to hell.
Oh, wow.
A strange monster come through this gate, and a very, very strange movie. I made this movie in English speak.
Mm-hmm.
Because the producer wanna to sell in the market, sure. Big market, but my actors, good, excellent actors, but the English of my actor was shit, I think, and that's the reason that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love this movie because I think when it was my opera, when I was 25 years, I think it's a good first card of presentation.
Yeah.
After that, I make Cursed Bastard, called in Spanish Maldito Sean, co-directed with my friend Fabian Forte. It was really interesting movie because mixing a lot of subgenres of horror, between black comedy horror with monsters, with like she horror,
mm-hmm.
Some style too, like Sam Raimi style. We have a lot of festivals, travel, but nothing happened with my career.
Hey, that's how it goes.
I'm from Argentina, so we have no market for the horror movie.
Right.
Our market is very small. We have no real industry.
Mm-hmm.
And in the exterior, nothing happened too. I'm still trying during a lot of years. And I made... I have Terrified project behind my arm. During 9 years, nobody wanted to produce this movie,
mm-hmm.
and I say this is my horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to write another horror movie because I think this is
the one. Yeah, you wrote it already.
I think if that script doesn't scare you like a producer,
mm-hmm.
or if you don't see that it works, I don't know if I write another script. So
right.
I'm in one moment of my career, I need to reinvent me, mm-hmm. because nobody want me like a horror director. And I think maybe black humor was the way.
Mm-hmm.
So my third movie was called Nobody, You Don't Know Who Are You Talking About. Mm-hmm. It's the name of the movie. It's a black comedy with a fantastic element like a monster.
Mm-hmm.
But it was another way. It's very, very different than Terrified. I don't know what happened with this movie because I am still thinking it's better than Terrified. Like movie. Mm-hmm. It's for another audience. But the fantastic crew, but fantastic public will love that movie.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get the distribution for this movie. I can, and still in edit. I don't know if the war never. Nobody saw this movie in festival, and I'm still waiting for the launching the make the premiere.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I made this movie almost in the same time than Terrified, and Terrified goes well, so I stop the another movie, and I'm enjoying Terrified.
Sure.
And maybe my third movie will be my fourth movie in a few months in the theaters, I hope.
Yeah.
Terrified comes in a strange way because I don't want to make Terrified, because when the producer won a prize in my Institute of Cinema in Argentina with Terrified script, I say I'm not connected with the horror movie now. I'm don't know. I'm hurt because all of this year I was very, very, very frustrated making horror.
So if I could just ask you a quick follow-up on that, just so I understand exactly the timeline there. So you wrote Terrified, and then couldn't get interest in producing it, and then you went and made this black comedy film after that, and then didn't get any traction with that. But in the meantime, Terrified was sort of getting a little the script was getting interest. And so by that point, you were kind of less interested in doing Terrified, or at that point, or am I misunderstanding that?
Again.
Sure, yeah, of course. So if I understand the timeline, you wrote Terrified.
Yeah.
And then after that, you...
I made my career.
You made this black comedy film after that.
Yeah.
And then after that, you had the opportunity to make Terrified as you saw it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But by this point, you were sort of less connected to the script of Terrified. You were maybe not sure if you wanted to go back and make it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you did.
I mean, me too.
Yeah.
Because I want to make horror movie. But it was in a bad moment of my life and my career, because my grandma was dying in the middle of the shooting of Terrified, and I'm going to the hospital, to the set, and to the hospital.
Oh my God.
I don't want to make Terrified.
Yeah.
But my producer needs to make. And because some I don't know, bureaucratic things.
Yes.
I don't know. I thought in a moment that the script of Terrified was bad because a lot of producers wanted to make that. When I read all the time the script, I never modify. Never. So 15 days before the shooting, I say, okay, I will read the script and I will modify a lot of things. I think, and I read the script and only modify the end of the movie. And I say, well, this is a script. This is always the same script. 10 years before, it's the same.
Yeah. Well, because you were. When you write it, I'm sort of the same way when I write. I don't do a ton of different drafts. I tend to write the thing and then don't make a lot of big changes to it, which is probably, I mean, maybe I need to get better at that. But I can relate to that. I mean, you read it, you go, yeah, it's done. I mean, fix a few things, change the ending, like you said, but
it's more fresh.
Part,
when you the first and the second script, I think this is all. This is fresh.
Yes.
When you start to modify because put this actor, put this kind of thing, it's not organic.
Definitely. And you can overthink your choices there too. If you try to overwrite it, you can do too much. Your first instinct a lot of times is the right thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a fascinating story. So so you made Terrified, and then how long ago did you shoot it? How long ago was it made?
How long? When I shoot it?
When did you shoot it? Yeah.
In December of 2016.
Okay.
2 years ago, we was 9 months of post production, and the premiere was in Mexico at November the past year, and more Video Film Festival. And then start the projection in all of the best festivals in the world, because we are here in Fantasy Fest.
Yeah. At what point did the people at Shudder get in touch with you? When did that conversation start?
I'll be honest with you, I'm only the director.
Oh, okay, cool. No.
Because I made the movie,
yeah,
and the producer find the selection. So I don't know nothing about sell movies or contact, and I'm so far away from really the business. I'm stupid because I make horror movie. You need to know more about the business. But when I know more about Shudder, I say, "Wow, this is fantastic! Great deal."
Yeah,
with correct people. I'm very appreciated that.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of this guy put all the support for the movie.
Yeah, that's great. I like that you're sort of disconnected from that business side of it. It's good, I think, for the creatives to just sort of like make the stuff that they want to make and then let somebody else sort out all of the handshaking and deal signing.
I'm the worst people in the world to sell my own projects. Yeah, I'm
the same way. I'm the same way. Yeah.
No. That's the reason, because 9 years with a good script, like I see, because it works. 9 years working and nothing happened because it's me. It's my fault. I'm stupid.
No. Well, I'm sure that's not true. And you made a great movie, so how bad could you be? So let's talk a little bit about the movie. I think one of the things that the first thing that I kind of noticed about it as I was watching it was the structure. I don't want to we won't talk about spoilers or anything, of course, because people don't have the opportunity to see it yet. But I will say the first part of the movie almost plays like a collection of short stories, where you have these sort of separate incidents going on. And then as the movie continues, around the midway point, you start to get where everything comes together. Was that intentional?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. When I think I wrote 12 script. I never put attention in the structure, but it's natural to make some sense or some elements that I get in love with that. But in the structure of Terrified, I think the most important for me is you, like public, don't know at least the middle of the movie who is the main character. Right.
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to point out.
Because it's like I think it's more dangerous if you public choice. Maybe this one and this one is die.
Right.
Maybe it's more dangerous.
Yeah.
I think all character in my movie could be die. Yeah. And that's give the in the audience something like, okay, that is strange. We are in a strange world. Another thing about the cuts and the story, so fast forward and Red Wing, is I need to involve the audience to be part of the investigation. I need to be the audience need to know more what's happening. And the first part of the movie is like a raconto. I don't know if I say well.
What is
like tells about what happened in the past.
Oh, okay. Like exposition.
Yeah, and the structure of the film is okay. The first half of the movie, I told you what happened through the different houses, with different stories. I for things about budget and about I don't want to make a long movie. I want to make a 90s minutes of movie. I chose the don't get more deep in the characters. I need to tell the little things about the characters. Yeah. I don't need to more deeper.
Right.
And in the middle of the story, it's a real time, so the investigation starts up. It's a real time, and all happened in, I think, 3 hours of real time in the movie.
Yeah.
But the structure was, I don't know, natural when I wrote the movie.
Yeah, it's great, and you sort of feel that too. You sort of feel that that you definitely feel like there is a somebody on the steering wheel, so to speak. There's somebody in control here, but there is still that element of like anybody could die at any time, and also wait a second, this is not like every other movie I've seen, and so I thought that guy was the guy I'm going to be following, and it's great. I was definitely unsettled by that, and we sort of leapfrog to other characters where you'll have one person be what appears to be the protagonist for a little while. It's not just I want to make sure it's clear to people that it's not just that it's an ensemble, and it is, but there are sort of distinct parts where there's a different protagonist as you go along, or quote unquote protagonist. You could use that term or not, but
like a Game of Thrones. I love when my hero die.
Yeah,
because they gave me like a freedom.
Yes,
I liberate and start a new hero, and I think this is the point of Terrified. You don't know who is the really main character.
Well, and then too, not only do you then get the satisfaction of jumping to a new hero, but you also have now raised the stakes so that new hero, it's even more, your investment is even more intense because you go, well, wait a minute, there, anything could happen to this guy or this woman too. So let's see what happens now. Yeah, that's fantastic. No pun intended. So let's talk a little bit about just your relationship with fear in general. Like what scares you? What are you scared of generally?
Without the movies.
Yeah, let's just forget for right now. Let's put it aside.
I'm very realistic with my fears. I'm fear to the illness. I think to I don't know, illness. Okay. To get old.
Yeah.
This is my real fear. I don't fear to the dark. I don't fear to the noises. I think the most common fear, like the human, is that terrify me.
Yeah.
I think it's very boring, but I don't know. My father was some kind of witch. Yeah, I say fine. I don't know if I say well. He was like I don't know how to say in English, but he made in a temple with like kind of witchery.
Oh, okay.
With killing chicken with blood.
Yeah.
Making.
Yeah, we call that like witch doctor is kind of a loaded term, but something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And grow
This
up.
is your father.
Yeah, and grow up. My father died 25 years ago, but I grew up between those occultism things. But I saw a few things weird, but I don't know if I feel fear about that or about those things. I feel my fear is with the reality. I don't want to get cancer. I don't want to get old.
Yeah.
I don't want to get to see my mother get older because I need to be my I need to have my foot in the floor.
Yeah.
And keep the imagination to my movies.
Yeah, I like that. I like the separation. I'm sort of the same way in my real life. Like it's scared of biological is what as you're describing, but also just like violence. Violence terrifies me. But in movies, that stuff doesn't bother me in the slightest. Really, maybe it's because there's so much of it in cinema that I'm sort of desensitized to it. But it's usually religious things in movies that terrify me. The Exorcist is the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
to me.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that stuff usually gets to me. That's interesting to know because your movie very much has elements of the supernatural, all of that stuff. There's a lot of different areas in it. You can categorize it a lot of different ways. There's haunted house elements. There's ghost hunting elements. Even some slight zombie elements. I mean, there's lots of different ideas within the movie. So to hear you say that in your real life, that stuff isn't really part of it is interesting. I would like to this is less of a question, but more of a compliment on the design in the movie, the production design. There is some great creature work in the movie.
Thank you.
There's one creature in particular that's in the trailer. I don't know what you refer to this creature as, but people can go watch the trailer. They'll know what I'm talking about, the guy under the bed. And it looks fantastic. It looks really, really nice. And then there's several shots in the movie of just makeup effects and I don't know if they're practical makeup effects or computer generated, but really affecting stuff. When people see the film, they'll understand what I'm talking about. But the kid at the table is one of the most upsetting things I've ever seen in a horror movie. And I watch a lot of horror movies, so kudos to you for you and your team for coming up with that image. Is that something that in the inception of the film, did you have sort of these images and you're describing them to a production team, or does the production team come to you with ideas and say, "Look at what we've cooked up"?
Okay, no, I had my own draft. With I wanted to look like the scene. It's very similar like my draft because I was a lot of years a comic drawer.
Right. Yeah.
Not professional, but myself comics. It was very difficult because the first option was. Okay, we need a boy who wants to make up all the time of the day, but more important, we need to be. We need to this boy stay quiet all the time.
Yeah.
And Marcos Berta, who built all of these horror things, my VFX, my effects guy. Told me, forget it. No, it's impossible. Boy, stay quiet with all that makeup in his face. All those days, I think was 4 days for shooting the scene. It's impossible. We need to make a hyper realistic puppets of the child. And after that, the point was how much rotten we need to the effect.
Yeah.
And the color of the body that when 4 or 6 days die is very different than the real. Mm-hmm. So we need to. When I put the first option, it's like a puppet. The reason is that dead people after 6 days die is like a puppet.
Yeah.
I don't want to. This boy is like a puppet because I need. This is an important scene, and we work with not only with Marcos in the effects. We work with Mariano Suarez, who was the DOP, to get the point of the light to make more real the boy, and after that with Leo Cornistein, who was the guy who editing and post-producing the movie, to get the color balance, to masquerade some kind of no good points of the puppet. It was a really hard work. At the last minute, I don't want convincing because I always look the toy, look at the puppet, and I hate that. And when I finished the first draft of the scene, I see my wife, who was the production designer of the film.
Okay.
Laura Revere. I say, well, what's the scene? And tell me if it scares you. Without music, without nothing, or sound.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, it's a puppet. Wow, she works in the movie.
Yeah,
so
she knows. She knows.
Well, when I show to the people bought the story and involved in the story and the music and the sound, and okay, this is not a puppet, this is a boy.
Yeah.
And it's maybe the people know this is puppet, but the real people dead is a puppet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking for myself, I was spending a lot of the scene wondering, is this a puppet? Is this a real kid? So you had me tricked. And even in the moments where you sort of lean and go, okay, this is artificial. I didn't think puppet exactly, but it works exactly as you said, because it is a body, and it's sort of like, well, of course it would be like that. It would appear that way. No, truly, it's so upsetting. It's so unsettling. It is great. Yeah, I really enjoyed. Well, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. I would say that
you suffer.
It was affecting and really moving, actually. Okay, well, so we know the film's coming to Shudder. Do you know a release date? Do you know when it's going to come out in the United States?
October 11.
October 11th.
Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty soon.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Nice.
Well, anybody listening, I hope you go check it out. It's a terrific film, and so interesting and so unique. And thank you so much again for taking the time to speak with me. This is a real pleasure.
It was a pleasure for me too. Thank you. Maybe the audience could know more about me with my website demianrugna.com.ar.
Yeah,
and a few full movie online there for me.
Absolutely, go check it out. All right, thanks again, Damian.
Thank you.